I'm always ready for winter to happen again.
Yeah. We were thinking if we stay in Texas, we're going to start heading north for the summers. It's too much, man. It's too
Yeah,
hot.
I bet. What's the temperature down there during the summers?
Oh, bro, it gets into the mid 104, 105s, dude. It's just ridiculous.
Ugh, ugh.
But
All
one,
right.
it was our first summer, and we keep hearing that it was a really brutal summer. Not usually that hot for that long. It usually dips into the low 90s for most of it. So
Oh, all right.
that I can do. Mid to low 90s is nothing. If you experience 2 weeks in 105, it's
It's like it's a
it's
mid
not bad.
80s, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we hit this year. I mean, I'm not in New Hampshire, but right next door they hit that like crazy negative temperatures. Did you hear about that
I didn't, dude.
this winter in Mount
Dang.
Washington? It's like negative 109 or some craziness.
Whoa.
Yeah, it hit like historic lows, and it was like 40 miles from my house. I'm like, oh, that's it was negative 40 by us. So with the wind chill, that's pretty brutal.
Bro, that's like you're gonna die quickly in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's what those are the cool videos where people go with the cup of water and just dump it in the air and it just disintegrates.
Yep,
That's a
turn
cool.
the ice right away. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's sweet. Yeah.
Never makes it out the cup, Lance. It's too cold.
Right?
They
Right.
go to
Wild.
throw it out the cup and it's frozen inside the cup.
Yeah, right?
Jesse knows all about that in Alaska, right?
Dude, you know where a popular place is to escape the heat, Lance?
Alaska?
Alaska.
Bro, did you hear Pace is gonna do a meetup in Alaska next year, bro? And a salmon fishing trip. I'm all about it, brother.
Dude, are you coming up?
Oh yeah. Dude, I'm a salmon fisherman, bro. I love to fish. In Oregon, I fish for salmon every fall. So I'm there, bro. Halibut, salmon, I'm all over it.
Dude, where have you been? How come you haven't been up here yet?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm super excited. We're gonna be scheming for the next year then. Well, at least the next 10 months or so until Pace comes up. Yeah, that'll be super awesome. I'm really excited about that. I think it'd be cool to have a great mastermind. Actually, one of the sub 2 students up here is a guided fisherman on the Kenai, and he bought a what's it called? Like a big what's the word, guys? It's escaping me. Lodge, like a lodge. He bought a huge ass lodge for all of his fishing guests and stuff to come and stay at, and he bought it on Creative Finance up here. And so anyway, super interesting. But that'd be awesome to have you come up and Pace, and I guess I don't know who all is going to make the trek up to Alaska during the summer. You need to buy your tickets now. Yeah, man, it'll be great, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, bro. I'm stoked, man. It's definitely been something that I've been planning to do. So now I have an excuse to do it and write it off my taxes. So it's a win-win.
There's no better trip, man, to write your taxes off on.
Bro, every trip now is a tax write-off, dude. Every time I go anywhere, I'm meeting sub 2. I try and put a meetup together, wherever I go, just like the man himself.
Love it.
Doing it right, bro.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on here today, dude. This is super exciting. I was really kind of tickled pink when you were like, dude, yeah, I'll come on and share this shit. Like, dude, let's go, bro. That is phenomenal. So thank you very much, first and foremost, for giving us some of your time. We'll try to keep today's meeting to an hour, so we're not keeping you. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. You're doing a lot of stuff, which is fantastic, and I'm sure we're going to dive into that as we move forward. But yeah, thank you very much from the bottom of our heart. Chanel, Shane, and I are very appreciative and grateful for the opportunity and for you giving us a little bit of your time today. I think today's going to be really awesome, and people are going to get a lot of value from it. Before we get started too deep, guys, if you can take 2 seconds, just so everybody in here knows, this link that we're using right now is going to be the same reoccurring link every single week moving forward. So you don't have to re-register. Now, what I need to make sure that everybody knows is you're getting this link and other links and more information about things that are going on throughout the week within the emails. So if you guys are not getting emails, you should be. You're probably just not seeing them. So make sure you guys are checking like your promotions folder, if you have Google, or your spam folder, and make sure that those aren't going to spam. So you guys are getting not only those emails, those links, but a lot of the other documents that coincide with some of the things that we're doing within these meetings are going to be emailed to you. And that's the only way you guys are going to be able to get access to them. So make sure that you guys are going and finding those emails. Brandy said, not getting emails. I was, but not anymore. You should have gotten one yesterday, Brandy. So if you want to check the email, it should be from newsletter. If you want to go into your email, it should be from newsletter@jesserstanton.com. So that's where all of them are going to be coming from. So I had a lot of people say, hey, I don't have the emails. Don't have the emails. And then we go into the system and say, yep, you were definitely sent the email. You just need to go back in and find it. So we sent out just shy of 600 emails. So, and there was like over a 99% delivery rate. So I know most people probably have them. You're just not seeing them. So I wanted to give you that email address at least, so you can go in there and search for it and make sure you guys are getting those emails. If you're not, please reach out to me, do some due diligence, and just make sure that you're receiving them. If you're truly not, then please reach out to me offline, and I can make sure that you guys, we can verify that information. So,
and Jesse, it might be coming through as a Growth Co thing. So that if
the name on it is the Growth Co. Yeah, we need, there's some things that we're changing. Those emails are supposed to be sent out Sunday. Anyway, there's some bugs and things that we're fixing. So just so you guys know, but that's the email address that it was sent from, just so you guys can go back and, yep, you guys are right. Says the sender, says the Growth Co. Yep. So that's the email that link came from. That won't be labeled from the Growth Co anymore, but that's the email.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so I have one more request before we get started. If you all have anyone that you think would be interested in joining this, or if you all could make a quick post just to kind of get everyone in here, share the link with some people to see if they are interested in joining us in this call. That'd be awesome. And that way we get started. And I want to do a quick introduction of Lance. I mean, quick is a very hard thing to do with Lance, because Lance has a lot going on. He's done a lot. I want to have him tell you all a little bit about himself. He loves telling a story. That's why he's a connector. He loves to get to know people and let people know him. Lance and I met through Gator. So Lance is a Gator student, an alpha Gator. You know, he likes to stand up on a podium and say, I'm the alpha, right? And he does a lot of Gator wrestling. He does a lot of Gator deals. He's also a sub-2 student, as you can see with his hat. So Lance is really involved in the community, and he also has his own Facebook page, the Creative Collective. If you get a chance to jump on that, that's an awesome group. He's got about 1,300 people in there that he's been, providing so much value to. His podcast is also called the Creative Collective. He posts out there as well. So, like, if you want to know someone, that knows people and that knows deals and knows what's going on, Lance is your guy. He's gonna talk to us about his deal today. He's got that $22.5 thousand deal that he did just by connecting people. I haven't heard it yet, so I'm really excited to know more. So I'm like all right up in it with all of you. And then we're going to get into a little bit of, Q&A towards the end, the last 10 minutes. We want to try to keep this to an hour with respect for Lance's time and everyone else's time, to try to make sure that we can do that. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We're going to do less of the hand raising today, just to keep us on track, and more of a, hey, this is a question that popped up. Hey, Lance, can you answer this question? That way we keep it moving forward. So without further ado, other than the fact that Lance's birthday is the day before mine, which is 3 days from now, so October 13th, mine's the 14th, and then my daughter's is the 15th. So we got this whole thing going where we're like,
mine is the 25th. I'm October 25th.
See?
My God, we're all harvest babies,
dude.
Oh,
mine was the 29th.
29th. You didn't even tell us.
What? Oh my gosh.
Of July.
Bye, Jesse. Bye. Harvest babies up in here.
So without further ado, Lance Riggen, I would love to have you tell us a little about yourself and take the stage.
All right, you guys got 2 hours? No, I've actually gotten pretty good at condensing. I got pretty good at condensing my story to about 10 to 15 minutes. I hope that's okay. But I like to tell my story because I think anybody can relate to a certain part of my story. And that's why I always recommend newbies to tell their story. And people just don't know how to tell their story, really. So I like to tell mine almost on every Zoom I do. So I'm Lance Riggen. I was born in Southern California. Don't hold that against me, but I love Southern California, right? I grew up in the armpit of Southern California, Palmdale, California, the Mojave Desert. And I basically was getting in trouble a lot as a youth. My dad wasn't around. My stepdad was a real piece of work, really selfish, self-centered guy. And so I ended up rebelling a lot as a kid, running the streets, getting in trouble, lots of trouble. I actually, did the all the everything that you don't want your kids to do. I did it, right? Running the streets as a youngster. And so my dad gave me an ultimatum one day. He says, "Hey, get your ass back in school." I was about a junior in high school, and I basically was dropping out. I was ditching school a lot. He says, "Get your ass back to school or get in the work truck and get to work." And I said, "Yeah, I hate school. Let's go to work." So I went to work with him, started learning how to set tile. I started learning how to fabricate marble and granite countertops by hand. And basically, when I was about 18 years old, we moved up to Eugene, Oregon. And that's where I spent most of my life. Raised two beautiful kids there. Got married to the love of my life, who is my business partner now. We've been in business partners for over 20 years. But I moved up there because I was getting in a lot of trouble, right? And so we moved up there. I ended up starting my own granite and tile company at the end of 2006. And right before that, actually, I had a guy on a job site, a contractor, come up to me and offered, said he had an opportunity for me. And I said, "Oh, what kind of opportunity?" He goes, "Well, just, come over, meet me at this address after work." I was like, "Okay." I show up and it's a network marketing business, right? We're having a meeting in this guy's living room. And I'm like, "What the hell is this?" It was kind of weird. But I'll tell you what, I ended up joining that business, right? It was Amway, but it was called Quickstar at the time because everybody was calling it Scamway and it was getting a bad rap from a lot of people. So I joined Amway, and I never really have anything bad to say about Amway because Amway lit the entrepreneurial flame in me, and I saw a way out of construction and a way out of the grind. I grew up really poor. My family was poor. Nobody saved. Nobody had any retirement accounts, anything like that. So I started looking for a way out, and I joined that business model. I didn't make a damn. I lost money, in fact. But what happened was I started getting in the right rooms with the right people, right? And that was when I started learning the power of networking. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm in the country, so I have to do this on my phone. So anyways, what happened was I got on this path of personal growth and development, and I started reading books. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read The Millionaire Next Door. Who Moved My Cheese is an old classic. The Alchemist. Started reading all these cool books about just being better and building wealth. And so I basically started my own granite shop like within a year or two after that because I, just had this desire to succeed. And so anyways, built that business. My wife and I ran it for 18 years in Oregon. Went from about 150,000 a year business all the way up to about $1.3 million the last few years we had it. And we did do some scaling, we did some growth, and along the way, we went we did all kinds of different network marketing businesses, right? I was always looking for a way out. I dragged my poor wife into these damn businesses with me, kicking and screaming, and tried and failed. But every time I tried and failed, I learned more, something new, and I learned how to network better, and I learned how to just brand myself, right? And started building some relationships with some cool people. But at the end of, we decided to sell our business at the end of 2021. My wife and I'll just back up a hair, and I won't get into this story, but I will tell this story at some point in the near future and share it with everybody. But at the end of 2020, my wife and I went through some major struggles in our relationship. We'd been together for 20 years at the time, and it got to the point to where my wife needed some time away, and it was a really, really difficult season for me. And I went through a lot, she ended up leaving me for a little while. And so I basically had to reevaluate my life and what my focus was. I kind of lost my why a little bit along the way. I was so focused on success and business and just doing, having a better lifestyle for my family that I kind of lost my focus for a little while there. And it was a direct result, that her leaving was pretty much a direct result of that. So I had to go to work, man. I had to do some digging, and I had to do some soul searching. And I reached out to God, and I reached out to some solid friends, and I started making some changes. And you know what? Within about 6 months, I ended up winning my wife's heart back, and she came back to me. And it's a miraculous story, and I owe it all to God. And I have to share that a little bit because it's a crucial part of my story. So at the end of 2021, after all that, we decided that we wanted to get out of the granite business and go full time into real estate. And so we ended up selling our granite business. We sold our last fix and flip. So I forgot to tell you guys. So sorry. We started flipping houses about 7 years ago, right? So 7 years ago, we started doing fix and flips, really fell in love with real estate, creative finance. We started doing, our very first deal was a creative finance deal. And so we really fell in love with it, guys. And so we decided we wanted to burn all the ships, bridges, whatever you call it, right? And go full-time into real estate. Well, we took 6 months off last year. We'd never taken more than like a week off in our life. So we decided we were going to take some time off, binge watch Netflix. We put on weight. We got lazy. But what we ended up doing after that was, well, we recalibrated and kind of really were rebuilding our relationship, basically. And it's turned into this most beautiful thing, man. I couldn't be happier, and she's happy, and I learned a lot of things. I learned how to hold space. I learned how to listen really well, and just be there for her and not try and fix all of her problems. And that was a big part of it. So we decided we'd sell the business. We sold it. We sold that at the early last year, and then we sold our last flip at the Oregon coast, and we actually made $160,000 in net profit on that flip, guys. So that was the grand slam fix and flip, right, of our careers so far. And then we took the time off. We ended up going to San Diego to BPCon last year, and that's where I heard about this guy Pace Morby. Honestly, we were in the conference. I had never heard of Pace in my life. I saw these cool stickers at this booth that's on my water cup, and literally didn't see Pace, hear about Pace the entire time I was there. We took an Uber ride to go to dinner. I think the second night we were there, and the Uber driver, was breaking the ice with us, asked what we were doing in town. We told him we were at VPCon, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" It's like, Bigger Pockets, the podcast. He goes, "Oh, I never heard of it." I was like, "What, dude? You've been living under a rock?" Like, he goes, "Oh, but I have a couple rentals. I follow this guy, Pace Morby." And I was like, "Pace who? I've never heard of him." He's on YouTube. Check it out. And so we literally Google him or looked him up on YouTube, you guys, and joined the Gator Tribe like 3 days later. And then we moved halfway across the country, took a 14-day road trip with our travel trailer. We hit Boise, Idaho, Salt Lake City, Utah, Moab, Utah, and then we hit Albuquerque, New Mexico, checked out some ancient Pueblo dwellings, and then hit East Texas, and then on. And we got to listen to the Gator trainings through our entire trip. And then we get a call when we got here from Sub 2 saying, "Hey, we see that you're in the Gator Tribe. Check this out." And we looking at each other, and my wife's like, she's like, 10,000, like she's mouthing me. And sure enough, it was about 10 grand to get in. We ended up signing up, paid in full, and the rest is history, guys. And here we are. There's a lot along the way, but it's been an amazing ride, an amazing journey.
And so what's the timeline real quick? Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that was, gosh, dang it, dude. I don't know if you were seeing the comments, but dude, everybody's just loving this. And thank you for being just so vulnerable and sharing those things. I think I saw somebody post it, when you're following somebody, especially on social media nowadays, it's really easy just to kind of see the things that are going right. And, you don't get to hear, both sides of how that person got to that point. So dude, I think that's really amazing. And thank you very much for sharing that. How long ago did this whole thing happen how long you been in Sub 2 now officially then?
Yeah. So next month will be our first 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
And then this month we just had our 1-year anniversary in Gator a couple days ago.
Phenomenal, bro.
Love it. So yeah. For everyone who's here, so I guess, you talk, most of us know what Sub 2 is. A good amount of us know what Gator is, but can you tell us, like, of the two, what one, because this is the Connector series, right? So what one do you feel fills the role of connector more? I mean, I know they're both very connector based, but like, where do you feel like you flourish in your connector role, and how?
Definitely, it's definitely in the Gator tribe, I have to say. It's funny though, because the value in sub 2 is like 10x. I mean, I got to be honest, in my opinion, the connections, the networking, the caliber of people. I don't know. Not to take anything away from the Gator method. I love the Gator tribe, but I find most of my lenders, obviously, right, new Gators are a lot of the people who want to lend on deals to get their feet wet. So I've helped over 25 new Gators get their first deal at this point, and I love pouring into the community. I kind of was flailing around a little bit the first 3 months, right? Shiny object syndrome. I had creative experience. I've been a business owner for 20 years. So I had a lot of value to add to the community and to newbies, especially newbies who were W-2 wage earners who had never been in real estate or never had owned a business before. And I knew early on that I had that value to bring. So I read this book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Equation. And that book was phenomenal. I highly recommend reading that book. It called me out early on. Like, I was flailing around. I couldn't really get any traction. I didn't know where my lane was. And I read that book, and it asked me what my mission was, you guys. And honestly, and it might sound corny, but I started thinking about Brandon Turner and like some of my favorite authors, John Maxwell, and some of these big time gurus like that I'd been following, Tony Robbins and all these other guys that I've been following, Pace even. And they all had one thing in common that I really resonated with, and that was just adding value, simply adding value. And it wasn't monetary, it wasn't like the money, it wasn't deal flow. Adding value to the community, building relationships, that's been my sole focus, really. And honestly, guys, like, the more people I help, the more deals seem to just flood into the pipeline. And so that's really been my focus. I find the most of my lenders I find in the Gator tribe, and a lot of the borrowers I'm working with are in the sub 2 community. So it's a pretty cool, marriage. Not all of them. I do have a handful of people who aren't in sub 2 that we work with, but that's kind of how it got started.
That's very interesting. I think there is so much truth to that. And as I've progressed my way through sub 2 as well over the last 3.5 years now, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. When you see what other people are doing, you see what other successful people are doing, really, when you can look at things, when you look at how to take your skills and the things that you're good at, and stop looking at things that are 2 feet in front of your nose, but start looking at things on a much more, a more broader scale. Like you said, man, the more hands you shake, the more money you make, the more people that you can help and be a resource to. It's funny because, like you said, things just kind of start to manifest in a very interesting way. When did you start? I mean, you found this out very early on. I mean, granted, you've had a lot of different experiences before you even joined sub 2. Was this all stuff that you knew prior to joining sub 2? Were you starting to kind of get a sense of all this? And then when you joined sub 2, it was like, oh my gosh, now I've got this community that I can go take my experience and help people, overcome these obstacles and solve these problems in a major way and in a bigger way, as opposed to just being on a small level, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I've been searching for a long time for something greater than myself, right? I think that's what you're kind of getting around to. I felt the calling on my life for something bigger and better. And I really feel like, I know that this is it, like, because I've thought I've found some other things, but just with the momentum I've been getting here, and just like talking to people and just, I realized early on, because of the experience that I had, that I wanted to offer that. I've always tried to give people advice because I've done fairly well for myself over the years, and it would usually fall on deaf ears, right? Friends, family, people who would say I'm lucky. That always pissed me off because I've always worked hard for what I had. Nothing was luck. My favorite joke about being an entrepreneur is we only have to work half days, right? Everyone thinks. I go, yeah, and you get to pick which 12, the first or the second 12. You know what I mean? Like, so people have this huge misconception about entrepreneurs, like we only work a few hours here and there, but we bust our ass, we work hard, we outwork people. That's why we're successful. Those of us who are taking action and seeing results, it's not because we just, threw a ring in a hat and like got lucky. It's because we're putting consistent action in daily. And, and so, yeah, man, I just started right away. Just like I started hopping on to live Zooms. That's where I tell people all the time. I started getting into live Zooms, in the chats and live Zooms. And that's where I started getting some traction early on, just answering questions, helping people wherever I could. I'd get 3, 4, 5 good contacts out of each live Zoom that I would, and I would reach out to them and get their, information, exchange information. I would put something on the calendar, send them at the time. It was a Google Meet invite before I got Calendly and Zoom. But I was just making those intentional connections. That's what I tell people all the time. It's networking with intention. You can't just put a post, a comment on a Facebook page and expect and think that you're networking, right? Because that's 100%. That's not what it is, bro. Like you got to get in, be intentional, give them your Blink card, get their information back. If they don't answer, people are busy. Quit crying about it. Like, who cares? Send another message. Big deal. Like, people are so quick to give up and to quit. I mean, you just got to keep after it and keep going. Every day.
100%, dude. I'm really glad that you said that. One of the ways that I like to think about this, and the word intention, I don't have any tattoos, but if I was going to get a tattoo, bro, I'd get intention just tattooed on my forehead, bro. I love that word. And I love that you really drove that home. The way that I think about, really anything, but specifically, you mentioned it in regards to networking and building and fostering those relationships. I like to think about it as if, like, when I jump into a Zoom meeting, for example, I think of it like, metaphorically speaking, if I was to walk into this big building, and within this big building, I'm walking into a conference room, and this conference room is big enough to hold everybody in the Zoom. And everybody in this Zoom is sitting around a table. And throughout this Zoom, you have an opportunity to say something. And everybody's going to listen. Everybody's going to hear what you have to say. And that's the equivalent of coming into a Zoom and being able to have your camera on, being able to put something intentional in the chat, coming into that meeting and saying, hey, I want to connect with 5 people, and leaving that meeting with actually 5 people that you're going to connect with later that week. But so many times they jump into this meeting with their cameras off, they're on mute, they don't contribute, they're just there consuming content. And it's interesting because more people, I'm figuring out, are more curious than they actually are committed. But if you were just even a little bit intentional with jumping into these meetings, metaphorically speaking, you having your camera off, putting yourself on mute, and not saying anything in the chat is the equivalent of you get called on during that meeting and you don't say anything. You have a chance right there to actually leave your mark, to be intentional with a relationship or getting yourself or your business in a better position than you were when you entered it, and you don't. So I love that you articulated that, because I think that is just something that, especially as a connector, a lot of people don't think about. Whether you're jumping into Zooms, I mean, there's 40, 50 hours at least minimum of sub 2s just going on in Zoom or in sub 2 alone. So what an opportunity to get in there, depending on who you're connecting with or whatever. So thank you very much for sharing that. Is that something that you figured out through reading these books, or where did you start to figure out, hey, I can be a little bit more intentional in this way and start 10xing my results, my network, the deals? And obviously what we're going to talk about here shortly is this deal specifically, how you made $22,500 from just knowing people, man, just doing what you're doing, just being intentional, jumping into a meeting. You're going to spend an hour in this meeting regardless, but because you have that little bit of intention backed behind it, that's putting money in your pockets. It's fascinating.
Seriously.
So how did you come to this realization? Was this through reading books? Was this through experience, or what? How'd you get to this point?
Well, honestly, I just was listening to what Pace told me to do. He's like, hey, get in the chats, get in on live Zooms. And because I knew what the power of networking looked like. I had been doing networking events with, like I said, I did networking businesses, but I also did networking with the Chamber of Commerce, the City Chamber of Commerce, with my granite business for like 10 years, So we would do weekly meetings, where you actually, so really what networking comes down to is a lot of people are just stuck in their own heads. They're afraid. They don't want to reach out to people. you just have to push yourself out of your comfort zone over and over and over again until you get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I know we've heard that a lot, but it's so true. I was an introverted kid. I was a loner, man, in junior high school and early high school, dude. Like, I started coming out of my shell because I forced myself to do things that I didn't want to do when I didn't want to do them. You know, I would do it over and over and over because I knew, I kept hearing that that was the key to success, is pushing yourself constantly out of your comfort zone. And so, I mean, I started hearing Pace talk about it a lot. He's like, hey, get into live Zooms. And I heard other people say live Zooms, live Zooms. And I started seeing instant results. So I was like, oh, this is working. You know, I tried it a few times. And then I just started commenting if it was a subject matter that I could relate to, or I knew something about that I'd had experience in. I would start offering additional value and dropping in nuggets from my life experience. And I would have people reach out to me. I'd drop my number, my Blink card in there. And so, yeah, it was something I kind of knew, but with this, it was different, right? It was just really pivoting into something that was different for me, like on the Zooms and stuff. But I really, a lot of the core, you know, principles I'd kind of known, but this was on another level, bro. I didn't expect to blow up like I have. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, I posted the wins about, you know, last month. And it's a culmination of this entire year up until this last month. I've been just deals, consistent action, failing, falling forward, falling on my face, making mistakes, making a huge mess. But I continue to move forward every single day, even when I don't want to do it. And I shared our bank statement the other day. We made over $42,000 last month. I was like, holy shit! Like, I was completely blown away. And this month we're on target to do even more than that, over 50K this month possibly. So, like, I mean, you know, and it's just because I've been just rocking it, man. Like, just going full speed ahead. I don't stop. I don't quit. Like, there's no quit. But
think about that for a second, bro. Did you grow up thinking that $40,000 and $50,000 a month was plausible for you?
Oh, bro, no. And we were modestly paying ourselves with our granite business, dude. Like, I was bringing home like 80,000 a year, dude. Like, so I've never actually seen that kind of income really in my life. And so it's been really, really crazy, man. And, you know, and I still see people with that self-limiting belief, which is fine. I love to help people get out of that. But like, oh, I hope one day I'll have a month like that. And I'm just like, a month, bro, this is my life now. That's not a month, bro. This is like, this is going to be consistent from here on out. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Like, it's not a good month, you know, but it's wild, man. I have to pinch myself because honestly, when I started really getting into this connector role, I was so excited and so just like jacked up on life. Like, just people like talking to me and just having conversations with people and being able to help people, man. I would lose sleep at night. I would be so excited that this is my life and I get to do this for a living and make money. Like, I was like, holy shit, like, where's this been all my life? You know, but you know, I feel like everything is in time. The timing has to be right, you know, for certain seasons of our lives. And my wife and I have talked about it. We're like, hey, damn, if we would have only known this 10 years ago, holy shit. And then her or myself, mostly her, she'll be like, well, we just weren't ready yet, honey. We weren't ready to experience this yet. Everything we had done was bringing us to this moment in time now. We had to learn that grit. We had to learn, you know, just to bust our ass. We had to learn all these things to just, you know, keep moving forward and not letting failure stop us, you know? So yeah, it's been a culmination throughout all these years, but it doesn't mean you can't start doing it right now and have success, you know?
And Lance, I want to point out the fact that like you told your story about your wife and yourself, right? And how like you spent 6 months learning not to solve her problems. And now you're funneling that skill set into solving all these other people's problems, right? Like, you as a connector are now using that skill set that didn't work in your day-to-day life. Like, that's for me, my wife. I'm always like, how do I fix this? How do I make you feel better? Like, it's not my job. Like, that's not what she needs, right? But people who you're talking with, like, you're just trying to, like, you're out there just solving people's problems and connecting with them and saying, how can I help, right? This is what I'm fucking good at. This is what I've been doing my entire life. I've been trying to fix things my whole life. And yet it wasn't time for you to start fixing other people's shit until you had your shit figured out. So I love how you kind of brought that up, because until you're in that place, you might not be ready to do what you're doing. And getting your own way. So I really love that.
Yeah,
that being
absolutely.
that being said, how did you fix these people's problem and get paid 22K?
Oh shit! Y'all ready for this?
Yes, let's hear it.
Let's get this. Let's get it. All right. So this is a fun story. Now I get to tell this story. This is my new favorite story. I'm a storyteller, right? And I know, Jesse, you're a storyteller. You've been in forever, man. I've been following you for a while, and you're just a real smooth talker. Like you're really just really good at what you do, man. And I love that. And I look up to people like you, like Pace, those guys. Like you're the types of guys I've been following and looking up to, and I've been crafting. I've been really working on my craft, right? I've been reading books about storytelling, books on communication, because I want to grow in my strengths, right? It's so important to grow in your strengths and not try and fix your weaknesses, delegating those processes to that you hate doing, right? So that being said, I actually was I got a call from this cool dude, Tony, who is in Sub 2. He's a wholesaler in Sub 2. He does door knocking and he pulls pre-foreclosure lists. He called me about a month and a half ago. He reached out to me. He had heard that I was raising capital and helping people out. So he hit me up and he's like, look, man, I need, I don't know, it was like 30K to pay off some arrears for pre-foreclosure to stop a foreclosure. And he was offering me a pretty good return. I don't remember what it was, but I said, yeah, man, we vetted the deal. Was like, yeah, this looks great. There was a lot of equity in it. And I could tell right away the guy was pretty sharp. So my wife vetted the deal for me, and we decided to move forward. Well, I ended up getting funding within a couple of days to stop the house from going to auction. But the seller ended up ghosting him, so that deal fell apart. Right after a couple of days, he just didn't hear back. So who did he call? I was able to raise capital within a couple of days. Who do you think he called the next time he had a deal? He needed some capital. He called your boy Lance. So he calls me up. And he's like, bro, I got this deal, and it was in Frisco, Texas, right? Super hot market. If you guys don't know about Frisco, Texas, stay out of there because that's my land. No, I'm just kidding. Dude, Frisco's super sizzling hot. It's like the north end of Dallas. They're actually building one of the reasons it's so hot, they're building a Universal Studios there by the end of 2026. I don't know if you guys know that, but pretty dope. So anyways, he calls me up. He has this deal in Frisco. He's like, man, it's a 28,000 in rears. The house, the ARV was like 725 on this place. Beautiful house, like over 3,000 square foot, built in like 2020, I think. So it was only 3 years old. He's needed $28,000 to catch up the arrears to stop the foreclosure. Here's where it gets real good, guys. He calls me on a Friday, Labor Day weekend, to stop this foreclosure that's going to hit the auction steps Tuesday morning. Okay.
Ooh, hot
Tuesday.
doggy.
Bro, yeah, challenge accepted. Okay. So I'm like, dude, he's like, 28,000. I will pay you $20,000 if you can get that cash for me. I was like, holy shit. I made one phone call. I have a list of potential capital partners and lenders who want to do deals with me. So I reach out to them when I get deals. I just happen to have a local guy who just told me recently that he had a huge line of credit and he had some cash. I'm like, bro, why didn't you tell me this sooner? I would have got you into some deals. So I immediately hit him up. He's like, I was like, bro, I'm gonna get you into this deal. It's 28K. We're gonna split the 20,000. That was my plan. And he's like, I'm in. So within 2 hours, I had that deal funded. I call him back. I'm like, Tony, we got your guy. We got everything lined up. Monday rolls around, Labor Day. And my wife's like, she does all the back office stuff. She does all the hard work, right? I'm just the pretty face. But she's like, babe, we talked to our buddy Evan, and she was like, hey, Evan says even if we pay the arrears off, the bank could still foreclose on this house. You have to have it set up with them. Like, I don't know all the legal jargon that goes into foreclosure. So I was like, oh, she's like, I think this deal's dead. I was like, bullshit, it's dead. That's like, I mean, for one, I want to help these people out. Two, that's 10 grand on the table and 10 grand for my buddy. I was like, no way. I reached into my network and I pulled a few tricks out of my hat, right? So I reached into my network. I got a hold of Chris Crump, who's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's known as the Dispo King in Dallas. Get a hold of Chris if you need Dispo stuff, man. The dude is a badass. So I was like, Chris, I need a foreclosure specialist to stop an auction. Who do you got? He goes, oh, hey, my buddy just used this one gal or these two gals that he uses, blah, blah, blah. And I'll have to pull my notes out to get you her name. But I said, great. I reached out to his buddy. I said, bro, I need a foreclosure stop tomorrow morning, like before it hits the auction steps. And he goes, oh, here's the contact. And I was just like, all right, cool. We hit this girl up. She charges $600 to stop, or she doesn't stop it. She postpones it for 30 days, basically, right?
Okay.
So she tells us, hey, I'll do this for $300 because you guys have already done most of the legwork. I mean, we had the wire transfer ready. Everything was ready to go to do what we could to stop this thing. But when we found out there was a possibility of the bank still moving forward, even though it was a really slim one, we decided no way I was going to put my lender's money at risk. So I reached into my network, pulled out this awesome rock star. Damn it, I can never remember her name. I'll get it to you before we're done. But she's like, yeah, $300. What? Angie Acosta. Thanks, babe. So Angie Acosta, total rock star, right? Yes. So she's like, I got you. Literally, guys, 39 minutes from the auction, that foreclosure was postponed for 30 days. And here's the coolest thing. We didn't need to catch up the arrears. So now we're into this deal. And I'm into this deal with no money. I brought the cash. I didn't even need the capital. We're still in it. Now we're actually in it for $20K because we stopped the foreclosure. Angie helped us stop it, right? I reached back out to Chris, who's a dispo king. Right? I said, bro, can you help us dispo this? The dude had less than 2 weeks, bro, to dispo this cash deal.
So it only got
and the seller was out of the country, and it was a divorced couple, right? A divorcee, so they weren't really getting along. The seller was out of the country, and he couldn't get us into the house. Like we were trying to get in to get photos, right? So we literally ate up about a week of that 2 weeks in trying to get into the house. I drove all the way to Frisco. For me, it's like 2.5 hours. I drove up there to meet Tony. We were supposed to meet the guy's cousin to get photos for the house. Nobody showed up. We're standing there in a blazing sun, 100 degrees. We're sweating our asses off. And the cool thing was I got to know Tony in person a little bit, right? But nobody showed up. So finally, like 3 or 4 days later, we got the photos. And then Chris dispoed that sucker, and that's how we made the additional $2,500. And so that was all within like 3 weeks' time, you guys, from me getting the deal brought to me from a wholesaler to finding the girl to stop the foreclosure, getting the funds in place if we needed it, and then getting a guy to dispo this deal for us. I literally brought in the team. I built the team, and we made that kind of cash from that deal. It was freaking amazing. I mean, I'm still like tripping on it, to be honest.
What was the biggest takeaway that you learned from that? Like you being the connector and bringing this whole thing in. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you were in on this one, Lance, but we talked about just making deals move through you and not around you. And this is a perfect example of what you did. You had somebody bring it to you, and instead of you introducing them to like the wholesale king or anything like that, you made this deal go through you, and you didn't just introduce two people and say, hey guys, throw me $500. This entire deal pivoted on you. You made everything come together, and you went from $500 or $1,000 or something to collecting over $20,000.
Yeah.
Did you have to know anything about real estate to even really make this thing come together? Did you have to know anything about creative finance, or like what were some big takeaways that somebody could take note of through this experience?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think can you hang on 1 second? My volume is weird. Hang on 1 sec, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you're good, bro. You are good. Yeah, what an amazing story though, man. You know, I mean, I think there's such a great proof of concept. I mean, this type of stuff literally happens all the freaking time. And you don't have, it just goes to show that you don't have to know really anything. As long as you are doing the things that we've talked about in this series, Shane, was showcasing, hey, this is how you set your day up for it. I mean, this is such a great example, man, on how you can legit just change your entire financial trajectory simply from just being a connector and being consistent and being intentional.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
Exactly.
No, you're good, brother. You are good. Can you hear us?
We good?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
There. How's that? Yeah.
You can hear us?
fine.
Man, my volume's messed up, dude.
Did you blow out your speakers from Jesse's?
There we go. I'm here. I got it.
Good?
I got it.
You can hear?
Sorry about that. Someone tried to call me and it just screws up my audio sometimes. I have no idea why it does that. Yeah, so we're good.
But anyway, we were talking about like some of the big takeaways, like being a connector. There's a way to sit here and change your entire financial trajectory from just being a connector. And you don't have to be a wholesaler. You don't have to be calling leads. You don't have to do all these things as long as you're being intentional with the people that you're meeting and the interactions that you're having, the relationships that you're fostering.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And I tell people all the time, I take it a step further. I'm not just a connector, man. You know, a lot of people are connectors that make $1,000, $1,500. I consider myself a facilitator. I facilitate these deals. We stick with the lenders and the borrowers. We're in the deal. We don't just walk away. If anything comes up, we're kind of like a liaison. I act as a liaison between the two parties. I keep in contact with them. And so we're kind of with them in it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not just a simple connector deal for us. Like, it's more than that to me. I'm looking to build long-term relationships with lenders and borrowers so I can build a business that will stand the test of time. And now we're starting to scale. We're bringing people on. We're building a team. You know, we've made a mess. Now we're cleaning it up, right? We're building our systems and processes because we built this huge funnel and now it's just like you can't shut it off, right? So now we get in this funnel. It's kind of bottlenecking and I'm trying to figure out how to handle the deal flow and all the stuff coming in. And so it's been wild, man. But yeah, so we're building a team. And so, you know, like I tell people all the time, like a lot of people overthink things and they just can't get out of their own heads. I'm just like, just get in there and get dirty, you know, roll your sleeves up, man.
100%, bro. And what a blessing to that being your problem is you have so much opportunity that you're trying to figure out how to organize it and stay on top of it as opposed to just chasing, you know, trying to get that one deal or trying, you know, getting caught up in a lot of the nitty and gritty stuff. I know Shane and we have this conversation a lot, man, but I think you get a lot of people that get so caught up in the nitty and gritty of things of like, hey, what list do I skip trace or what CRM do I use? And that takes all of their time. Like they'll take an entire month just trying to figure out what CRM they should use. When instead we've all got the same 24 hours, but how are you using it? What are you doing with it? And what type of problems are you trying to solve with that? And then a lot of times it's easier to go this way than it is to just be so focused on that one little thing. And you're obviously a shining example of getting in there, being intentional. And it's like, dude, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. And now my problem is I've got too much opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah. Going off of that, like, I love the fact that you're like, I created this problem, right? I created a good problem, right? Like all these deals are coming in now. How do I manage that? How do I find now my group of people to go out there and start taking care of the X, Y, and Z? And it still comes through my business, right? Like it sounds like you're finding, tell us a little more about that. Are you finding more people to do what you're doing? Or are you finding more people to do the TC type work? Like what does that specifically look like for you growing out your business?
Yeah, so because, you know, I've been really heavily branding myself on social media. So the cool thing about that, especially being a connector, is people already feel like they know you, right? So if you're doing reels, if you're posting content like every day and sharing about your life experience, not just business. I tell people all the time, just share your life, share life. You can share stuff all the time. You know, branding is a huge part of it. So when I talk to people or people are referred to me, they already feel like they know me. And that's a huge advantage, man. Literally, I'll get on the phone with people every week. I kid you not, every week. And they'll tell me, hey, man, I've got like $200,000 in a self-directed IRA. I have $400,000 in it. Like on my very first Zoom with them. Like, why do you think that's happening? It's not because I'm someone special. It's because I'm doing what Pace has been telling us to do. I'm branding myself. You hop on Sub2 or Gator, boom, there's Lance. I have people tell me all the time, bro, every time I open up Facebook, boom, you're there, dude. How do you do it? I'm like, I'm like, dude, I'm on it 2 or 3 hours a day, dude. Sometimes that's how I do it. It's not like, but I'm liking comments and I'm supporting the community, man. It's not just me making content. I'm in there, I'm loving people's posts, I'm commenting and I'm lifting them up, because I want to help people, man, succeed. That's a big part of being a connector. It's not always about money. Most of the time I'm just helping people and I've learned to monetize off that. So I mean, that's
about
it, man.
the cool thing about this whole thing, man, is, and I want to point this out in case people missed it. I want to get really black and white with this. This is a skill that Lance has developed that is not only like, it's not limited to just real estate. Like, you could take this skill into any industry, and it's a way of thinking. And it's a way of learning how to lead with value and to solve problems. And it's not limited to just real estate. And that's what I think is just so ingenious about this whole thing and what you're doing right now, Lance. Because when you learned, we talked about, I grew up the same way. My dad always told me that $100,000 a month is like the standard to be at. Like, Jesse, if you can make $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year. Like, if you make $100,000 a year, dude, you were looked at as Bill Gates. They're one and the same, man. And so that was always the standard for me. And so I remember the first time I ever made that in a month, I was like, holy crap. Like, this is even 15 or 20 grand a month. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Something's about to happen here. This is really insane. And the cool thing about this whole thing, Lance, is, as you were talking about, once you start hitting 40 and 50 grand a month, that now becomes like your minimum operating level. Like, no matter what happens in Lance's business, Lance knows how that's his minimum operating. He will never get to a point where Lance is like, oh my gosh, you guys, I just lost my business and now I've got to go flip burgers because I need to pay rent.
Right.
Like, Lance knows he has those skills to be able to connect and network and do it in a way to where at a bare minimum, he knows how to bring in $50,000 a month. That's his minimum operating level. So when you have these scarcity thoughts that, like, man, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I introduce should I introduce myself to this person? I don't want to come off as stupid. Should I make this post? Are people going to like it? Are they going to like? That's the cost of not doing it, guys. That's the cost of not doing it, is not getting to a point to where, whether you know how to make $10,000 a month or $50,000 a month or $100,000 a month, once you get that becomes your minimum operating level. No matter what happens between now and the rest of your life, you know how to do that. Mm-hmm. And Lance is 100%. Such a shining example of that, bro. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's absolutely amazing and inspiring, man.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, and you're right. And I think I wanted to let people know how important it is to put up dream boards and set goals. We set goals every year, man. Like, we don't look at them as much as we should, but literally we did a goal setting summit with Brandon Turner. It was like 6 hours last year at the end of December. And we got to write down a bunch of goals. We put some dream boards together. We've been doing that for years. There's something powerful about manifesting what you want. Like, the power, our minds are so powerful that when you truly believe you can accomplish something, you will accomplish it. And that's where I'm at. There's not a doubt in my mind. And so it gives me the confidence to be able to do this. And when I present deals to lenders, I'm not asking them for money. I've never once asked somebody for money in my life. I present them an opportunity every single time. And when I present an opportunity, I let them know that 2 or 3 other people are looking at this opportunity. And you got to act quick. And the fear of missing out is much more powerful, right, than the opposite of that, right? So I kind of brain farted there, but you know what I mean. So, like, those are some things that have been huge for me. So looking at some of my goals in my vision board every now and then, every day, it's actually behind my door in my bedroom. But setting goals and doing vision boards, guys, it's so important, man. Like, it's huge. So every day we're living and breathing. I have a plaque in my room that I found at I found at some like craft store, right? That my wife dragged me to, but it says, and so together they built a life that they loved. We burned our bridges and we did all, we made all those changes, drastic changes. We took that huge risk. We didn't know anybody in Texas. We didn't know anybody here. I started from scratch when I got here, and so we did all that because we were ready to make a real impact and a change in our life. And I am completely blown away in the matter of 1 year of what we've been able to accomplish because we put our minds to it, and we just every day we eat, breathe, and shit real estate, right? So it's just been an amazing ride, guys. And I'm more than happy to connect with any of you. I'll throw some stuff in here, but it's amazing what can happen when you really put your mind to something, and you just know in your mind and in your heart that that nothing will stop you. Like, it's so powerful. Like, when you get rid of that fear and doubt, unstoppable, literally unstoppable.
Gosh dang, bro. I am just so inspired right now. I feel like I'm vibrating at such a freaking high level right now, dude. Thank you very much for sharing that, man. I'm pumped, dude. Like, I just want to go get on the phone and like call people or something right now, dude.
I love that, dude.
Dude, thank you very much, Lance. I really appreciate you. Guys, thank you guys very much for being here. Please give Lance some love in the comments, guys. This was absolutely freaking phenomenal. Lance, where can people reach out to you? Where can they connect with you? Where can they work with you?
Yes, Jess, thank you so much. She's been sharing our Facebook group in the comments. I just shared our Creative Collective YouTube channel. But you can reach me. You can find me at just search my name, Lance Riggen, on Facebook. I'm getting close to 5,000 followers. But yeah, you can also find me at Lance Riggen on Instagram. Really simple. I got lucky. But yeah, really easy to find me. You go into Subtour Gator and you won't have any problems finding me.
Beautiful, beautiful, awesome. And where can people follow you on your podcast? Are you on Spotify and all the things, or?
You know what? We're working on that, man.
Okay.
I'm not the techie guy. My partner's doing that, but I'll drop my YouTube channel in here too.
Beautiful.
I just dropped it again, so you should have that in there.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome.
Bro. Thank you.
Awesome. Make sure you guys go in there and follow Lance. I mean, this was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Shane, any last words?
No, I'm actually a little disappointed, Lance. You didn't tell us about your shady past. I was hoping you would tell your stories there, but that's for another time, right?
I did want to tell you real quick. I am writing a book about my experience with me and my wife. That whole struggle. I got like 3 notebooks full of journals that I wrote in, and I'm actually writing a book. I kind of came up with the name. I think "Fight for Her" is going to be the name of it. But I mean, that's just a testament to what happens when you put your mind to something. She was done with me, you guys, and I would not let her go. I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't give up. I refused to give up. And guess what? I ended up winning her heart back, man. That is such a powerful testament to, the power of your mind and what happens when you really put your mind to something and don't let anything get in the way. I mean, it's really a miracle, honestly. So I'm writing a book actually to help other men who are struggling, who have those issues of wanting to fix everything and control and, have narcissistic tendencies. And a lot of us struggle with a lot of these issues. And so I'm writing a book to help other men and to help other people in their relationships. So I'm really excited about that.
When you plan on having it, do you have like a date when you'll plan on having it published and released?
Well, thankfully, I just listened to Who Not House, so I need to find somebody to put it into a book format for me. So I got a bunch of crap, brain dumped, but I'm not a writer, so I figured I'm going to have to I think I'm going to find somebody who can help me put it into a book format,
Love that.
So I don't have anything yet on that, but I'm real excited about it.
Definitely keep us in the loop. I definitely want to read that and consume more of your content, man. Yeah, thank you very much for jumping on. Guys, should we make these recordings have not been available for public consumption? Should we make this one available? Would you guys like to go back and rewatch this one? Wasn't this one freaking dope? Gosh dang it, man. I thought this was absolutely amazing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. For those of you guys who would like the copy, I need you guys to go in. You need to go join Lance's Facebook group. That's step 1. You need to go and share this on social media with I don't know why I'm getting balloons. Sometimes that happens. Did you guys see that, or was it just me?
We saw the balloons. I don't
Okay,
know.
I don't know why that happened. That was weird. Okay, go get in, join Lance's Facebook group. 2, go share something that you took away today with somebody else.
Yes.
And then step 3
awesome.
is, I don't know why I keep getting balloons. This is so weird. Step 3 is shoot me and Shane a DM when you guys are done, or tag us in your post and shoot us a DM to make sure that we do see it. And we will send you the link. I'll open it and make this one. I'll make this one shareable. This one was absolutely amazing. There was so much value that were dropped here.
Thanks. I
Dude.
wanted to congratulate you guys too on your success in such a short time, man. You guys are killing it, man. You got like the first Zoom I hopped on, you had 99 guests. I was like, holy shit, these guys are freaking killing this thing. You know, it's not easy to get that many people. So you did really good at promoting this, and you guys are awesome, man. I appreciate everything you're doing for the community. And yeah, if anybody wants to do any deals with me, hop on, just send me a friend request, follow me, and then shoot me a DM. That's the best way to get a hold of me, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's a good tip, Lance. You mentioned that in another one where you said, like, make sure you hit like friend request and then send a message, because otherwise you just get dumped into that ethos that just throws it somewhere else and whoever sees it, right? So if you do both, it helps with connecting with people you've never connected with before. So the Facebook group, one more time, Chelsea, is the Creative Collective. So jump on that. You'll see Lance is the administrative admin for that. So Lance, we really appreciate you being on here, man. And like, I always love our calls, our conversations every single time we link up. So thank you.
Yeah, bro.
Lance,
thanks,
real
guys.
quick, one last thing. Will you come on our TGIF podcast? It's all about mindset, self-development.
Oh, bro, like that. You say no more. I love talking about mindset,
cool.
dude.
All right, we'll talk offline, bro. That would be awesome.
All right, sounds good, buddy.
Sounds good. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I think we're definitely going to have Lance on again sooner than later. I think this was absolutely phenomenal.
I got lots of stories to tell, my guy.
Let's do it then. Let's put it on the books, baby. Right. I appreciate you guys.
Good.
Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your week, and let us know what we can do to be an asset for you. Have a good one.
Everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.